What's up, gentlemen? Welcome back to Man Talk, the best place for men to become healthy, vibrant alpha males. And today we're talking about using dating apps in 2021. You see, this whole pandemic, coronavirus, COVID-19 issue has really pushed dating apps to the forefront of how we meet and interact with each other. And so as men, we are going to have to learn and adapt to this environment if we are going to want to be successful in dating. So things like Bumble, Hinge, and I suppose Tinder, these are all going to be very important for us finding a woman in our life. And so let's get to number one, and that's pictures. Of course, in online dating, pictures are going to be first and foremost. You need pictures. You need people to be able to see what you look like. We're going to need at least 5 pictures, because if we don't have at least 5 pictures, then people are going to think it's a little odd. Like those guys with 1 picture, 2 pictures, it's kind of weird. It's like, why do you have so little pictures of yourself? It's kind of throwing me off here. And you don't need professional quality pictures at all whatsoever. Actually, I found that before, when I was using these apps before I was in a relationship, that I had so many high quality photos that my fantastic friend Richard would take, that you can see on my Instagram, and I would put those as mostly the photos that I would use on my dating profile. And sometimes it didn't always work. Sometimes it was a bit too intimidating. Sometimes people thought that I was hiding something because I had to have so many professional photos on there. So you don't need absolute professional looking photos in order to succeed on these apps. If you need pictures taken of yourself, just get a buddy and say, hey, listen, man, I'm trying to find a lady. I need some nice pictures of me to throw up on these apps so I can look A1. You think you can help me out with that, bro? And I'm sure that if you just come out and ask your friend to help you with that, everyone's got a fantastic camera on their phone these days. You can take some quality looking shots, and maybe he's also looking to get into the dating app game and find a lady for himself, and so you guys can help each other out. Don't be so shy about it. Just ask a bro for help, and I'm sure that he'll be there for you. And just a quick note, gentlemen, when it comes to these photos, like no shirtless photos. Even if you're super ripped and you're super handsome, like this shirtless photos, they don't go over so well. You just look like a complete fool, like a complete tool. Now, if you're surfing or something, you're on vacation and you got a photo of you doing that kind of stuff, that's a whole different story. Those are okay. That being said, your man needs a bit of a haircut here, so we are gonna go and do that. Of course, it's absolutely pissing out in Van City yet again today, so you know the hoodie's the play here. Alright, how we looking here? It always takes a couple days for a haircut to actually set in, but I'm hoping we're back to normal here, because I let that thing grow out for a month and a half. See how she goes. Alright, so the next thing that we want to be talking about is your bio. And this is more important on Bumble than anywhere else. A Hinge is a bit different, and Tinder, it matters, but it doesn't really matter. Bumble is where your bio is most important. Why? Because the lady's gonna be messaging you first. After she swipes right on your picture because you looking handsome as hell, you gotta make sure that there's some stuff in your bio for her to really catch on to, so that she's not just messaging you like hey or hi. Really talk about yourself in the bio. And try to include like a bit of humor in there. We don't want to be too bland. You don't want it to be like I like to go to the movies. I like to play video games. I like to drink juice boxes with my family. That's not what we want to be doing. We want it to be personable. We're actually putting some enthusiasm in it, okay? Something that I always like to do in my bios, especially on Bumble, is to put like a pros and cons thing. So in the pros, you put some things like, for instance, if you're tall, you put like, can reach the cookie jar for you. Knock out the cobwebs out of the way so you don't have to get caught in them. In cons, Cons, I always like to say not Robert Downey Jr. or something like that. Put like your favorite celebrity. Put like not this guy. Or if you have something that you can come up with on your own, do that. Just try to be a bit silly and try to talk about yourself in these bios, because we really want to grab that lady's attention and give her something to message us about. So when it comes to Hinge as well, we have to make sure that we're being enthusiastic about the lines that we're putting or the questions that we're putting on. We have to make sure that there's something that's going to catch someone's attention, and avoid talking about your dick. Avoid making like super obvious sexual innuendo comments. Like if it's very subtle and smooth, like it's funny, that's okay. But if it's like really out there, like on our first date, I'm gonna remove all the chairs from the place to make sure you have to sit on my face, don't do that. Now, when it comes to that first message that you want to send, well, this is a bit different. This is a whole different ballgame. You have to make sure you're not sending like hi or hey. And you don't want to send a massive compliment right off the bat, because look, she didn't earn that compliment. Like what did she do to earn you telling her how beautiful she is? She didn't. She's born like that. Right? When you are sending the first message, make sure that you are talking about something that's in her bio. And typically we don't want to be using these weird pickup lines and stuff like that either. If you have like a really good one, or like one that's like actually funny that you've tested out a few times and women actually seem to like it, that's different. Cheesy pickup lines and stuff like that, they don't work for a first message. When we actually say something that's come from her bio, it shows that we're paying attention. It shows that we really picked up on something, and it shows that we care. We care about getting to know her, that we're actually taking the time to look through something. And gentlemen, I think lastly, the best tip for dating apps going into 2021, we need to stop taking so much time of actually asking them out. It should be very quick. It shouldn't be over the course of a couple days messaging back and forth. This is a huge problem on dating apps, and I see it all the time. And guys are they don't take action. They don't take the action to actually bounce them from the app into real life. So after the first couple messages and things are going smooth, and you guys have sent like 5 messages back and forth, if you feel like it's going well, say, hey, listen, what's your Instagram? Add me up on Instagram. We'll talk more there. I prefer to say, let's move it over to Instagram, because it's a bit more casual. There's no real drawback to it. See your Instagram, they get to know kind of who you are a little bit. It'll make them a bit more comfortable meeting up with you. And then once you're on Instagram or once you're texting, it should be a real quick boom, boom, boom. When are we meeting up for a drink? Like, we have to think about why we're on the app. Like, what are we doing there? What are they doing there? They're there to meet someone. They're there to hang out with people. They're there to meet someone perhaps to be in a relationship with. And so, if you guys are just talking on the app the whole time, it's not really going to be what they're looking for. Women want men to take charge. We're men, we're leaders, we're caregivers, we're protectors, we're a bunch of things. But we have to take charge. And that means that we're gonna have to ask them out, even when we're talking on an app. Once you've bounced them off the app and onto text format or Instagram DMs, then this is the time to ask them out. And when it comes to dating apps, you gotta remember that there's tons of guys in that pool. There's tons of competition. So there may be a bunch of options, but there's tons of competition out there waiting to kind of cut you down. They'll move on to the next guy real quick if you don't take charge, if you don't take action, if your pictures aren't up to snuff, and if your messages aren't up to snuff either. And these things all take practice. You're gonna see a bunch of tip videos out there that are going to give you these sly pickup lines and these sly pickup techniques to use in online dating, but really it just takes practice. It can be really easy to get discouraged when things aren't working out, when you're not getting matches, when people aren't messaging you back. But don't worry, this actually happens to a lot of people. It's just there's so many options out there that sometimes you just kind of get left out. So we have to work hard to make sure that we are at the top of the dating app food chain. And this doesn't just happen automatically. This doesn't just happen if you have the best photos or you're the best looking guy on the app. Those things help, but it's so much more than that. You got to be interesting, you got to be standing out, and you have to be putting in the effort to actually succeed on these things. If you remember that it's about the effort you put in, if you don't give up on yourself too quick and you try your best and you're interesting and you put in the effort in to succeeding on dating apps, well, then I'm pretty sure in 2021 you are going to be able to find yourself a very nice young lady to continue your life on with in 2021. Gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this content, you can go down below and sauce me one of these bad boys. And if you're not subscribed, man, dude, hit that subscribe button. Did you know that about 50% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed? If you really want to see more content like this, you gotta smash that subby. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Gentlemen, don't forget how awesome and fantastic you truly are. I wish you all the best of luck on the dating app journey. Stay handsome.